What is up? What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, we're going to talk about some AP polls because that is officially out. We're also going to talk about Unrivaled, who had their first game of the season. There's some stuff to talk about when it comes to Unrivaled. Have you all watched? Let me know. We'll get into it. Anyway, Quit in the Morning, guys, starts now.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Ready, set, go.
All right. As I said, we're going to talk about some AP polls, and let's get into it. So, major changes have come to the AP polls as a lot of changes have happened. And so without further ado, let's just sort of get into it. But real quick, I did want to mention that yesterday there were two Big Ten games to watch, really. It was Iowa versus Northwestern, I should say. Iowa ended up taking the dub 67-58. And we also saw Michigan take the dub over Minnesota 70-60. But there were some massive changes when it came to the AP poll. I mean, when it comes to the tippy top, nothing has changed. UConn is still number one. Of course, they are 15-0 on the season. One of four undefeated teams so far this year. We also have the Texas Longhorns, who are also undefeated as well, still keeping that number 2 spot. The number 3 spot stays with South Carolina. Number 4 stays with UCLA. Number 5 stays, and actually number 4 is where it kind of tails off because there have been a lot of changes since then. We saw Oklahoma move up 3 spots into the number 5 spot. We saw Kentucky move from number 11 to number 6. Same thing for Vandy. Huge bump up for Vandy. Vandy is also one of the few undefeated teams left. There's only 4 undefeated teams. One is UConn. Next is Texas. Then we got Vandy. And then we have Texas Tech. Those are the undefeated teams as of right now, and Vandy is looking pretty fantastic, standing at 15-0 in that number 7 spot. We also have Maryland at number 8. They did drop down just 1 spot. They did, they are 15-1 on the season. We have Michigan, who moved down as well. They had a pretty rough week last week. They are currently in 9th place in the rankings. Number 10, we have Louisville, who moved up slightly. We have Iowa State, who moved down just 1 from last week into the number 11 spot. LSU moved down less than I expected. I actually thought LSU was going to be further down than number 12, but they are the new number 12. They were previously at number 5, moved down to number 12, and that skid it may continue. We'll see. They do play Georgia this week, and so we'll see what they can do against them. Number 13, we have TCU, who did fall off a little bit because they did end up losing in overtime to Utah over the weekend, so they moved down. We also have Iowa, who is staying steady at that number 14 spot. Michigan State have moved up dramatically from 1 week ago. They are now at number 15. They were previously at the number 24 spot. So they're looking pretty good. They're benefiting off of conference play while others are flailing. We got Baylor, the Baylor Bears, who have moved up as well. They are at number 16 right now. Remember, guys, they did take down Iowa State last week, and so that's why they moved up quite a bit. We also have Texas Tech. The Lady Raiders are, again, the number 4 undefeated team on the season so far. They're 16-0, and they are looking very good at that number 17 spot. A thing to note, they do play West Virginia this upcoming Wednesday, so that is a game to pay attention to. Number 18, we have Ole Miss. They did move down a couple of spots from last week. We got the Ohio State Buckeyes, who are staying steady at that number 19 spot. Tennessee at number 20. USC dropped down to number 21. We got North Carolina, who had a rough week last week as well. They ended up losing to Stanford, which dropped them down to the number 22 spot in the rankings. We got Washington, who enters the top 25 at number 23. We got Princeton at number 24, and we have Nebraska at number 25. Those are the look. That's the look of the top 25 in week, 9? Is that what we're in? It's crazy how time flies. We also have a new thing this week that when I first saw it, I was like, wait, what's this? I mean, of course we know about the NET or the net. That's not a surprise. But if you're interested in that, we got UConn number 1, UCLA number 2, South Carolina number 3, Texas number 4, LSU number 5, Michigan number 6, Kentucky number 7, Michigan State number 8, TCU number 9, and Oklahoma number 10. But there was a new thing in this graphic that I saw, and I was like, I'm confused. And if I'm confused, maybe some of you all might be confused as well, because this is not something that you see often. And it's called the WAB. Now, if you all saw that and you were like, what? What's the WAB? I've never seen this metric before. Well, I hadn't seen it until yesterday, or at least maybe I just haven't paid attention until yesterday. I don't know. I was a little bit confused. But the WAB stands for wins above bubble. And so yeah. These are teams, the top 50 teams basically in the country. And so if you're beating higher quality teams, then your ranking sort of changes in the WAB, wins above bubble. Supposedly, this is something that they do on the men's side, but I don't really follow men's college basketball, so I didn't know about this at all. But yeah, that's sort of what it is. It's a team success metric based off of, the good teams that you've played, basically. And so that's something to note there. It's different than the NET, and so you can see there's quite a difference. In the NET, you can see LSU at number 5, but for the WAB, they're not even on here, and so like there's some slight differences when it comes to the NET and the WAB. Have you all saw this before? Is this the first time you all are seeing this type of metric? I had not seen it, and I was very confused. I was very, very confused. And speaking of confusion, maybe you all are like me and you are working a business and you are confused as to what your next step should be. There's a lot of things that you have to keep in mind when creating a business. There's a lot of things you have to keep in mind when it comes to creating a store. And this is where my confusion was alleviated with the help of Shopify. I've been using Shopify for well over a year now, and they are a channel sponsor now. And when it comes to Shopify, they give you basically everything you need to really be successful when it comes to business. This is a new year, which means a fresh start, which means fresh ideas, which means maybe you want to consider making that business idea into a reality. 2026 is the year for you to rewrite your story and make your entrepreneurial dreams come true. And you can do that by starting your business with Shopify and really make some stuff happen. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. And here's the deal. Millions, and I mean millions, of entrepreneurs have already made the leap on Shopify, and it's looking good. Shopify serves the biggest of businesses to the smallest of businesses. Well, so whatever your idea is, Shopify, is going to be able to help you make that into a reality. Also, they do have marketing built in too, and you can create emails and social campaigns straight from Shopify, helping you to expand into new markets, and you can do it all from the same dashboard. As you grow, Shopify will grow with you. In 2026, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. You can sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That is shopify.com/allcity. Again, shopify.com/allcity. You can hear your first ka-ching this new year with Shopify by your side. Now let's kind of switch gears a little bit and let's talk about Unrivaled. Because, y'all, there was a whole lot that we saw yesterday for Unrivaled. First off, hey, the Mist looked pretty good. We saw all 8 teams battle it out yesterday. We did see a couple of injuries. Aari McDonald went down. We saw Aaliyah Edwards go down. We saw a little bit of chippiness. We saw an interaction between Marina Mabry and Shug Sutton where Marina was doing an arm bar and she didn't like how close Shug Sutton was. They kind of got into it a little bit. There was a shove that happened between Marina and Shug Sutton, and then also we saw 3 technicals ultimately get called. Shakira Austin was called for a tech, Marina Mabry was called for a tech, and Shug Sutton was called for a tech. Ultimately, it was fun. Here's the thing: we all know that Marina Mabry can be a little bit of a firecracker. I think what did Lisa Leslie say? It's because she went to Notre Dame, I guess. she got some Irish in her or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, I thought it was fun. I thought it was like a fun, like, levity type of thing to just make it a little bit more interesting. But while we're talking about that interaction, let's just talk about it. A huge reason as to why Marina Mabry was not in the greatest of mood is because her team was getting killed. Okay? Here's the deal about that. Her team is the Lunar Owls. They end up taking on Team Rose, and when I tell you, Team Rose had their foot on the Lunar Owls' neck to start the game. Now, first things first, the thing we have to talk about is the fact that both teams are missing players. We saw, of course, Nafisa Collier's out for the whole season. We also saw that Skylar Diggins was out as well in this game, and that was a pretty large loss. They call it a lower extremity injury, and so TBD on when Skylar will be back. But not having Skylar was a huge loss, especially from a leadership standpoint for the Lunar Owls. For Team Rose, we did see that Kalia Copper was out as well. She also had a lower extremity injury. And so, yes, both players were missing both teams were missing players, and they were both impactful players, though I will say not having Skylar on the court seemed to affect the Lunar Owls way more than not having Kalia Copper on the court affected Team Rose. Team Rose, before the game, they did hoist their banner. I actually did not know that they were going to get a banner, but it turns out they do get a banner that is going to stay up in the arena, which is kind of cool. It'll be cool to see year 5, 6, 7 how that sort of spreads out and see all the various banners up. But the reason why Marina was pretty frustrated in this one because her team was getting killed pretty badly and pretty early in this one. Team Rose came out to a blazing start, and they never really let their foot off the gas. And the reason why is because Chelsea Gray was doing Chelsea Gray things. Y'all, she was shooting threes left and right. She was doing some crazy behind the back passes and fun passes. And here's the thing. Chelsea Gray finished the game with only 8 assists. She would have had way more assists if her teammates would have actually made the shots right away. So yeah, she probably would have ended up with like 13 assists or something like that if her teammates would have made the shots initially. But anyway, she was fantastic in this one. 35 points for the point guard. She was getting to the rim. She was getting great passes. She was shooting threes. She was doing a little bit of everything. And also, Azurá Stevens was doing her thing as well. She ended up with 19 points for Team Rose. There was nothing the Lunar Owls could really do to stop them. Marina Mabry tried her best. She ended up with 23 points. We saw Aaliyah Edwards do her thing as well. But again, she did go out in this game. I believe she was going up for a layup. And she ended up falling into the stanchion, I think that's what it's called, where the rim is. I mean, the hoop, the bottom part of the hoop. And Shakira Austin kind of like fell on her. And so Aaliyah Edwards' face hit the pillar. And then her legs were up as Shakira Austin kind of like went into her. I believe it was Shakira Austin that went into her. And she ended up going out and not returning, and that sort of ended any possible chance of any success for the Lunar Owls when Aaliyah Edwards did go out, and that was that. Ultimately, Team Rose easily took down the Lunar Owls 80-60. We also saw the Laces get to a really good start against Team Vinyl. Again, like, you could really tell the difference between some of these teams. It was just very clear that the Laces were ready to play, and they were doing their thing. Brittany Sykes is Brittany Sykes. She is someone who can just find her way to just get buckets. The Laces in general was just overall better at spacing than Team Vinyl was, and led to them getting the dub. We didn't see much in terms of offensive production by Alyssa Thomas, but I guess it didn't really matter because Jackie Young and Brittany Sykes was really doing their thing, and in some ways helped to carry the Laces team to victory. And Team Vinyl, I mean, yeah, it was kind of a struggle bus. Hey, Erica Wheeler came off the bench and made some stuff happen, but ultimately not enough for Team Vinyl. It just felt like, I don't know, felt like they just weren't ready. Felt like they weren't ready at all. Like, Team Rose were super ready. The Mist was super ready as well. But it felt like the Vinyl, and also to a certain extent the Laces as well. That game in particular wasn't that great in general. Speaking of the Mist, I do want to just talk about the fact that they played the Hive, and y'all, the Hive looked really bad to start. And then eventually they kind of started to get it together a little bit. It's very clear, though, that the Mist are used to Unrivaled basketball, whereas the Hive, with basically all new players to Unrivaled besides Natish Heidemann, the Hive took a little bit to get into the game. We saw Sonia Citron kind of get schooled several times by Alicia Gray in this game. We saw some fantastic blocks, by Alana Smith, who was just getting after it. She was basically saying hello to everybody on Team Hive, and ultimately the Mist easily kind of got the dub against Team Hive. Team Hive is going to get it together. I give them about 3 weeks. No, I give them 4 weeks, and I think they'll be able to get it together and look pretty good. And then finally, we have Team Breeze, the funnest team of the bunch. Y'all, Team Breeze is looking good early, okay? Because you got, of course, Paige Beckers, who was doing her thing, 24 points for her. She looked great. Like, clearly, 3-on-3 is no bother for Paige Beckers at all. Rakia Jackson was looking really good as well. Dominique Malunga looking really good. This team, yes, Aari McDonald did ultimately get injured in this one, but this team looks really, really good. They look very comfortable with each other. Overall, the spacing is pretty good, especially considering the fact that a lot of these players are new to Unrivaled, right? Paige is new. Dominique Malunga is new. Kim Brink, I mean, she was there last year, but she didn't play. So I kind of consider her new. Aari McDonald's new. And so, that's something to note. They look good already. They have their leader in Paige. They have their sort of post presence in Dom Malunga, who can actually stretch out and knock down a three. She did knock down a three yesterday, and so that's something to know. Overall, we saw some teams that were ready off the rip, and then we saw some teams that were not ready at all. And overall, my thoughts on Unrivaled day one was cool. I will say full disclosure, I didn't actually watch the games live yesterday. I ended up just watching them this morning. Before, and because they're so short, you can literally just fast forward through all the commercials and get through the games, all 4 games in, a little bit under 4 hours, which is not bad at all. So for me, I wasn't as excited watching the games. It's probably because I already knew the result before I ended up watching them. But from you all's perspective, if you did watch the games live, let me know your thoughts about it. It was cool. It was cool. There was some exciting moments in this one. I think some players look really, really good. LL Cool J, I thought that Aaliyah Boston looked good. Overall, guys, it was good. It wasn't like crazy exciting, personally for me, but it's probably also because I knew the result before I started watching. And so, yeah, that's something. That is something. Okay. Now let's move on. And I want to do a topic that I have been thinking about for a little while now. And actually, as everything tipped off for Unrivaled, it had me thinking about this topic even more. And I titled this section, Let's Be For Real, because I want to have a very frank conversation that I don't want to come off as attacking, but I want to be for real. So let's get to it, okay? So as we said, Unrivaled tipped off yesterday, and while we've been watching what's happening on the court, there's been just as much positioning happening off the court as well. Alex Bazzell, the president of Unrivaled and the husband of Nafisa Collier, was given some interviews, and he recently said that he wants Unrivaled to be the Champions League of women's basketball. He also made it clear that Unrivaled is not trying to compete with the WNBA, but instead they want to position themselves. They want to just position themselves in the market basically alongside the WNBA, saying that they're still pretty early, a couple innings into where women's basketball is eventually going to go, and that sounds fine and dandy. But as I was listening to him talk, I was getting a little confused because Alex says that he wants Unrivaled to be the Champions League of women's basketball. And I know a thing or two about the Champions League because I like soccer. The Champions League that he's referencing is the UEFA Champions League. That is elite, as elite competition when it comes to soccer. But the Champions League is not a full-time league. The Champions League is a competition. It's a club-based competition, and the clubs that participate in the Champions League, they do not belong to the Champions League. It's basically a tournament, the Champions League. The Champions League does not have permanent teams. They do not own player contracts. They do not replace domestic leagues. They don't even control the full soccer calendar. Teams qualify for the Champions League based on their success in other leagues. And that distinction matters when we're saying that Unrivaled is going to be the Champions League of women's basketball. Because the Champions League's works because it sits above existing leagues, existing domestic leagues. It depends on those leagues for legitimacy, and it rewards excellence in those leagues with entry into the Champions League. Here's the deal. If Unrivaled wants to be the Champions League of women's basketball, well, they got a lot more work to do. Because Unrivaled does not sit above the WNBA. Unrivaled does not sit above any league in women that does women's basketball. In some ways, maybe it sits adjacent to the WNBA. There is no qualification process to join Unrivaled. There's no competitive pathway that exists like the Champions League for Unrivaled. There is no sort of earn your way into Unrivaled structure. Players are selected, they are contracted, and they are employed directly by the league. So when Alex, the president of Unrivaled, says that he wants Unrivaled to be the Champions League of women's basketball, what he's really meaning is he wants Unrivaled to basically be the premium showcase of elite talent in a compressed window, not actually the Champions League. Because again, when I first heard it, I was like, what? The Champions League? How? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But sure, if you want Unrivaled to be the elite talent showcase, sure. But also, there's still some more stuff to work through because that's more of a brand comparison. As a brand, you want Unrivaled to feel like the Champions League, not actually structure-wise be like the Champions League. And hey, I like the ambition. I think it's cool. But let's be honest. Unrivaled is very different than other leagues because Unrivaled, they're not selling cities. They're only in one city, with the exception of playing 2 games in Philadelphia this year. They're also not selling rivalries. This is a new league, right? They're not selling legacy either. They're not even selling traditional basketball. This is 3-on-3 on a condensed full court, not regular basketball. But what Unrivaled is selling is player stardom. That's what they're selling. They're selling player stardom. And that's why Paige Beckers is not just a player in this league. In a lot of ways, she is the face of Unrivaled this season. Similar to basically what Angel was last year. And if you want to sell stardom and be the place where stars go, you gotta have the stars. And that's why the absences of Caitlyn and Angel and Asia and Sabrina and Nafisa due to injury, that's why they matter. Because Unrivaled, in my opinion, can absolutely exist and do just fine without being the so-called Champions League of women's basketball, where the elite of the elite go and the biggest names go. But if being the Champions League, quote unquote, is ultimately the goal for this league, well, it can't happen without sustained elite and popular player buy-in. And in a lot of ways, it really can't happen without a serious conversation about eventually moving to a 5-on-5 basketball structure for Unrivaled. And that's where things kind of get even more interesting. Because it feels like when Unrivaled talks, they're talking out of possibly two sides of their mouth. When I ended up seeing a clip from ESPN, or I can't remember actually who it was from. Anyway, Alex was basically saying that, hey, the door is always open to WNBA partnership. Nothing is off the table. They're not chasing a partnership with the WNBA, but they're definitely open to it, and the WNBA knows that their doors are open. And sure, they're open to it, but when I really listen to not just what he recently said, but like things that they've said in the past, it's very clear to me, at least, reading sort of between the lines, that they want a relationship with the WNBA. They want a partnership with the WNBA. They've already been turned down once by the WNBA, so they're trying to play it a little bit cool. But make no mistake, they want a relationship, an official relationship with the WNBA. And it makes it even more interesting, the fact that they want a relationship with the WNBA on one hand. And then on the other hand, they say, well, on the other hand, you have Nafisa Collier, who in yesterday's broadcast basically said that Unrivaled, that being on the side of Unrivaled and having ownership in that has given her the look inside on how to create a sustainable business. And she kind of called out the WNBA in a way that is, again, very, very interesting. She said, quote, "Being on this side with Unrivaled, I know what it takes to run a sustainable business. So I think if they can't find a model that makes that happen, they need to put people in place who can." That was Nafisa Collier talking about the CBA and talking about that and saying, hey, if the WNBA can't figure out a way to make the WNBA sustainable, then the leadership needs to leave. And they need to bring people in who can, because she knows what it means to make a sustainable business, because she is in charge of Unrivaled. But this is where I just have to put a pause and say, respectfully, no, you don't. Let's be serious for a second. There is no world where you can honestly say that Unrivaled is a sustainable business in year 2. Maybe if Unrivaled was 10 years in or something like that, sure. But this is year 2. Respectfully, you don't know what it means to make a sustainable business. You know what it means to create a business and have great metrics to start off with and be a growing business. Absolutely. But like year 2, I don't think you can call anything sustainable in year 2. It just is what it is, right? The league runs 3 months out of the year. It's in one location with 2 games in Philadelphia this year. Yes, there is a TV deal that is strong and fantastic and great negotiations on that part. Yes, there's lots of sponsorships that have already been solidified. That's great, right? You got the big Sephora deal. You got the big deal with Samsung. You got a lot of deals, which is great. The merch is fantastic. Yes, the fan engagement is also very, very impressive. And the numbers that Unrivaled has been putting up on social media is also fantastic. But at the end of the day, that's not sustainability yet. Because again, this is only year 2. Unrivaled is promising. It's exciting. I am excited about it. It's growing fast, which is great, but it's not sustainable yet. And you can't say what you've done at Unrivaled is basically comparable, because it's just not. It's just not. It's not comparable to the WNBA, right? It pales. This league pales in comparison to a league that has been operating for nearly 30 years in various markets around the country. The WNBA is not perfect at all. I've talked about all the issues about the WNBA. So this is not me caping for the WNBA. But this is me saying, let's be real. The WNBA has survived team ownership changes. They've survived labor disputes. They've survived decades of cultural indifference. And they've survived decades of financial uncertainty. And they're still around. Unrivaled, in year 2, hasn't survived anything close to that. And so that's sort of where the tension is. You have it where it's like, oh, yes, we're open to partnerships. Yeah, we're not in competition with the WNBA. But then on the other hand, you're saying, well, if the WNBA can't get this right, bring somebody else who can. And we know more about sustainability because look at what we've done in 2 years, right? Unrivaled wants to be taken seriously as an infrastructure, and it will be eventually. But it's not the same. It's just not. And I'm not sure why they're trying to make it seem like it is. It's not the same as the WNBA. And so, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that real quick because I just don't see it. And I'm not sure, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm confused or whatever. But like the stuff that they're saying, I'm just like, come on, it's not the same. And bring some people in who can't. What do you want Unrivaled's leadership to be brought into the WNBA to take it over? Is that what you want? I mean, I don't know. And if that's what you want, then like understand that the WNBA is not going to be open to partnering with you if you want to basically take it over. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's sort of my thoughts there. I just wanted to talk about that. Yeah. I just wanted to say that. But anyway, let's move on to real quick update. The deadline is right around the corner for the WNBA CBA. Remember, guys, they extended it again, and the deadline is January the 9th. So we have a couple of days left until the CBA is over. We'll see if there's an extension. I think there probably will be another extension. From all the talks, it doesn't seem like the league and its players are anywhere close to a real deal. And so I personally would not be surprised if we see another extension on CBA negotiations. But I did just want to give you all an update that it is over basically this week. So the 9th is the deadline. I'm expecting to see a late day update with, we've extended it for another 60 days or whatever. I don't think it's all going to be all set to go right now, but we'll see. We will see. All right. All right, let's get to y'all comments. Let's get to you all's comments. I'm just trying to be real. Like I'm not trying to burst her bubble at all. And I love the positive thinking and all that stuff. But but if it does feel like Unrivaled in some ways acts like they're like way bigger than they actually are. And I just wanted to get to reality a little bit. No, here's the thing. What I am saying is I don't think it's helpful at all to say that, actually let me get to the full quote. I don't think it's helpful to say that being on this side with Unrivaled, I know what it takes to run a sustainable business. So I think that if they can't find a model that makes that happen, they need to put people in place who can. I don't think that's helpful. That's my point. there is no issue with talking about how great you think Unrivaled is going to be and what you're building. That's fantastic. That's great. But I don't think it's helpful to say we're open to a partnership with the WNBA and also say we know how to run a sustainable company. So if they don't know how to do it, they need to put people in place who can. Like, I don't think that's helpful. And that's kind of my point. That's the point I'm trying to make. All right. I don't think that Unrivaled is anywhere close to being a Champions League. Like I just don't think that makes sense in terms of structure, because it just doesn't. But it's also, if you're talking about just on like marketing wise, Champions League, okay, sure, but then you got to get the top notch players, since that's what you're selling. You're selling players and fandom above everything else. And so, yeah, that's my thoughts there. Feel free to disagree. But yeah, this is not me being attacking to anybody. This is just me saying my opinion on what has already been said. So anyway, that's that. Thank y'all so much for watching. Let me know how much you disagree with me in the comments below. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Are you ready?
Ready, set, go.